This is a continuation of our reading of John Calvin's Institutes of the Christian Religion. God distinguished from idols that he may be the exclusive object of worship. Sections. Number 1. Scripture in teaching that there is but one God does not make a dispute about words, but attributes all honor and religious worship to him alone. This proved first by the etymology of the term. Secondly, by the testimony of God himself when he declares that he is a jealous God and will not allow himself to be confounded with any fictitious deity. Number 2. The papists in opposing this pure doctrine gain nothing by their distinction of dulia and latria. And number 3. Passages of Scripture subversive of the papistical distinction and proving that religious worship is due to God alone, perversions of divine worship. Number 1. We said at the commencement of our work that the knowledge of God consists not in frigid speculation, but carries worship along with it, and we touched by the way on what will be more copiously treated of in other places, that is, how God is duly worshipped. Now I only briefly repeat that whenever Scripture asserts the unity of God, it does not contend for a mere name, but also enjoins that nothing which belongs to divinity be applied to any other, thus making it obvious in what respect pure religion differs from superstition. The Greek word eusebia means right worship. For the Greeks, though groping in darkness, were always aware that a certain rule was to be observed in order that God might not be worshipped absurdly. Cicero truly and shrewdly derives the name religion from relego, and yet the reason which he assigns is forced and far-fetched, that is, that honest worshippers read and read again and ponder what is true. I rather think the name is used in opposition to vagrant license, the greater part of mankind rashly taking up whatever first comes in their way, whereas piety, that it may stand with a firm step, confines itself within due bounds. In the same way, superstition seems to take its name from its not being contented with the measure which reason prescribes, but accumulating a superfluous mass of vanities. But to say nothing more of words, it has been universally admitted in all ages that religion is vitiated and perverted whenever false opinions are introduced into it, and hence it is inferred that whatever is allowed to be done from inconsiderate zeal cannot be defended by any pretext with which the superstitious may choose to cloak it. But although this confession is in every man's mouth, a shameful stupidity is forthwith manifested, inasmuch as men neither cleave to the one God, nor use any selection in their worship, as we have already observed. But God, in vindicating his own right, first proclaims that he is a jealous God, and will be a stern avenger if he is confounded with any false god, and thereafter defines what due worship is, in order that the human race may be kept in obedience. But of these he embraces in his law when he first binds the faithful in allegiance to him as their only lawgiver, and then prescribes a rule for worshipping him in accordance with his will. The law, with its manifold uses and objects, I will consider in its own place. At present I only advert to this one, that it is designed as a bridle to curb men and prevent them from turning aside to spurious worship. But it is necessary to attend to the observation with which I set out, that is, that unless everything peculiar to divinity is confined to God alone, he is robbed of his honor, and his worship is violated. It may be proper here more particularly to attend to the subtleties which superstition employs. In revolting to strange gods, it avoids the appearance of abandoning the supreme God or reducing him to the same rank with others. It gives him the highest place, but at the same time surrounds him with a tribe of minor deities, among whom it proportions out its peculiar offices. In this way, though in a dissembling and crafty manner, the glory of the Godhead is dissected and not allowed to remain entire. In the same way the people of old, both Jews and Gentiles, placed an immense crowd in subordination to the Father and ruler of the gods, and gave them, according to their rank, to share with the supreme God in the government of heaven and earth. In the same way, too, for some ages past, departed saints have been exalted to partnership with God, to be worshipped, invoked, and lauded in his stead. And yet we do not even think that the majesty of God is obscured by this abomination, whereas it is a great measure suppressed and extinguished, all that we retain being a frigid opinion of his supreme power. At the same time, being deluded by these entanglements, we go astray after diverse gods.